works, huh? So good morning, everyone. And when I looked at the video, I did not know whether I was in office or in a college, So the people there looked the next generation. Unfortunately, I belong to the generation which was the 60s generation, the 70s, We always used to make the work look very hard. But when I look at these youngsters and the way they are talking, they're making the life look very simple. Thank you very much, Indus and TCS for sponsoring this event. I am one of the biggest proponents of Solution Manager as a device or a tool. In 2002, the first Google, if you go Googling Ambarish Ojha Solution Manager, you will find I had said that we have to bring Solution Manager to the Indian customers, Indian marketplace. And at that point of time, we convinced Bharat Petroleum to go with Solution Manager 1.0. It was being baked in Germany somewhere. It had interesting features to handle the solution at that point. That time we were at 4.6c and we had been moving to the ERP world. And when I come back again today, and it happened by accident because Dr. Uwe Hummel was to be in my place, and then he had to fly out. So they said, Ambarish, you should come and talk about it, So for me, it's like going down the memory lane and looking at it and seeing how we have progressed from those days till today. But I'm still not very happy. So I thought, okay, let me give my message in a very different way. You saw this interesting video. And when you look at this video, you see the world is changing. And the world is changing to the extent that we have no control over it. My daughter and son know more about me that's happening in the world than I do. Sometimes I try to fool them, but 1 hour later they come back and prove that I am wrong. So the world has really moved on, and being the father of two teenage children, I tend to talk about them because they are the problem of my life right now. And when you go to offices and when you go to the workplace, the need for information and the transformation that the customers are expecting is becoming huge. And what I did, I played around with the slides to give the message that I wanted to pass on to you. How does it move? By pointing at this or this? Or someone move the slide, next slide, that's all I need. Thanks. So when I look at this world and I look at the digital world and the way the world is moving, all of you must be challenged. Because I, as a senior executive in SAP, have a chance to meet the CIOs at various forums. And the challenges are that their chairmen are coming back after attending big seminars and asking only 3 or 4 things. I want the data immediately. What is this HANA? What is this cloud? And all of us are trying to figure out how to explain it to these people who give us only 10 minutes of their time every day. And then we had Mr. Modi, who is our Prime Minister, announcing that India will go digital. And I had some interesting discussions with the public sector CIOs and other companies as to how this digital will unfold, Because we are still not able to do the last mile. But when you look at all this, we are surprised that with this change, SAP has also been changing. And I have been working with SAP for the last 15 plus years. I have been there when the .com period. I have been there at this period. And when I look at it and when I look at the message, or the product portfolio that we are getting ready for the future, you can see that we are preparing for the future. And that is why I wanted to pass this information through my slide deck to you in a very simplified way. So when you look at this slide, this is simple. I don't have to explain this one to you. What everyone is talking about is something called the connected world. And when the world becomes connected, things come to life. This year, at the starting of the year, our CEO and board member, Bill McDermott, said, we have a 5-fingered strategy. And something like the Congress Party, but they are, I think, combined together. We put it all together and said, we have to have a 5-fingered strategy. We have to make our customers ready for the digital world. And when you look at these 5 elements, we said we need to have a basic platform which can help the customers or business succeed. So we called it the digital core. The digital core consists of the S/4HANA, and I will talk about it in a minute. We also realized that there is also a need to go to the cloud, and therefore we built the HANA Cloud Platform. We also realized that certain things are moving faster to the cloud. For example, the payroll, the HR, and therefore we came out with human capital management solutions, success factors on the cloud. And then we also realized that in the connected world, we need the Internet of Things. In the old generation, we had desktops. I don't know, the IBM desktops were the famous devices. And in those days, the IT department had a great job in procuring these desktops, and everyone was given a desktop. I was part of the desktop generation, and it took me a while to switch to the mobile. And when you look at the desktops, our SAP GUI screens were the best screens. They were gray, ugly, and people were happy doing it, entering all those fields in this, and doing MMSDFI transactions. But as we move ahead, I have been traveling for the last 5 days, and I have not been carrying my laptop. The only device I have been carrying is my iPad. So the CEOs now want, or the big executives now want, that everything should be available on these mobile devices, which means we have to make the same information come on these mobile devices. And for that, we realized in SAP that we needed a better front end, which was the Fiori. So I'm not sure how many of you, and I will ask you later these tough questions, how many have you gone for Fiori or not yet? Because these are things which you should do naturally. They come as part of your maintenance. We also realized that the world is moving towards e-commerce. In Bangalore, my wife does her entire shopping through what's called the big basket. And Shah Rukh Khan gives the ad of that, right? She doesn't even go to a departmental store. And the only thing is that that guy comes ping, and then I have to pay the money, because they have cash on delivery models. So when I was talking to some senior executives in SAP, they were surprised at this cash on delivery model in India, because everyone has pay the credit card and then you get delivery. So these are some of the interesting business paradigms that exist in countries or economies in the developing world. And for that, we acquired a product called Hybris. And Hybris provides the customer interface, the common interface, to complete the digital solution. So combining with the HANA base, the e-commerce front end using Hybris, and then using a success factor solutions, I can tell you guys, you can answer the chairman's questions easily and tell him that we are ready for the digital world. I do not know how many of you are from Tata Group here. Fantastic. And how many from Reliance? And Asian Paints? I just mentioned 3 customers because in this last 1 year, these 3 companies have gone to e-commerce. And imagine, and I have a lot of respect for the Tata Group, they were a brick and mortar group, And I'm very impressed with the ease they have moved, and I do not know how many have you gone to tataclick.com. This has been built by TCS along with SAP on a completely, complete technology backbone using the e-commerce backbone of Hybris. Similarly, Reliance Jio. The Reliance today has become the 4th largest data service provider in this country, and nobody knows it. So they have really been moving fast on this journey. And the fact is that if these big giants could move, everybody can. But what happens behind this? We are the support people, and when in services, we understand that while the world becomes simple externally, our world becomes more complex. It becomes more complex because there are more interfaces, there are more technologies that you have to integrate, and when you have more technologies to integrate, you have more points of failure. And when you have more points of failure, you have to understand that we cannot hire thousands of people to monitor this. And therefore, Solution Manager comes as a very useful tool for trying it out. And those of you who are young, who are from basis background, take this up. Do it, implement it in your organizations. There would be enough people telling you that what solution manager does not have. Forget that. Do what it has. That is good enough, you know. So do that. And when I looked at this data was sent to me by my guys here. I get this data on a regular basis. And I noticed that the number of customers using solution manager is less than the number of industry members, you know. So this is not a very good sign. So we need to have more customers using solution manager. But the good thing is that if you, they chose, I don't know, yellow or some strange color for saying more than 80%. So they didn't want to say green. So they, and then they said green for less than 25%. Okay, so that's it. So if you look at the last element, which is green, what we do is we can pick from the solution manager what you're using and what you're not using. But these are the things which are also very important to do. I don't want to really stress much upon it. You have your own, I mean, it's your own house that you run. You can decide what is important, what is not important for you, because you know your business models and your frameworks better. But I would say that you have a lot to do in the solution manager utilization. Let me tell, I have been fascinated by aeroplanes. I do not know how many of you have been, but coming from an engineering background, this was one piece of technology which I am always impressed with. And I always watch the Discovery Channel when they talk about the plane crashes. One should not watch that, but I watch it for my interest. The biggest fault of failure in any crash is, apart from the human, is the technology. And technology failures many times cannot be caught by human beings, because the human beings can only understand 5 or 6 alerts. So if I'm in this room, I can only be visible, I can only see 5 or 6 alerts and my mind can react to it. But if there are failures which my mind cannot read or understand, I cannot comprehend it. So therefore, the airline guys came out with something called fly-by-wire. I do not know how many of you are interested, but fly-by-wire technology is using computers to navigate the planes. Because the computers can take all the information coming from the height sensors, the engines and everything, and make the plane fly. And you have also heard of something called the autopilot. The autopilot allows you to land even without human intervention on a risky runway or in a bad situation. So I look at Solution Manager as a platform which makes your life simple. And if you have it in place, and you have the alert mechanism in place, and nowadays they tell me that you can even get alerts on your mobile from the Solution Manager. I've been outdated about it for some time. The question is, you'll make your life simple. So in a nutshell, imagine that the digital world is like a plane which you are flying, and you are the CIO who has to make sure it runs smoothly. And you have limited time because you have other headaches on your mind. You need a good, strong infrastructure to make you succeed in this new world. I would say, look at the plane. I think the aeroplane is the most marvel of technology which we have so far in this world, which takes us every day. Many of us fly up and down and don't even realize what technology goes behind it to make it work. So once again with that, thank you very, very much. I hope you had an interesting morning discussion with me. And if there's any question that you want to ask me, I'm more than happy to answer it during the course of the day. Thank you.